Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking about my top 25 favourite movies from the year 2014. So these are all in accordance with the release dates from IMDb, and again these are just my top 25 personal favourite movies from the year 2014. There's no right or wrong, it's just my opinion. But before I get into the list, I just want to give a shout out to Playtendo Guy, who's very kindly invited me onto his live stream on Tuesday the 13th, tomorrow night. So if you want to pop along there, please feel free to. It's going to be a great night. I'm looking forward to meeting him and Jim Jam. And I believe we're doing a movie quiz as well. So yeah, please feel free to pop along. You're most welcome. So yeah, very extend my thanks to him very much. So yeah, that being said, I'm going to get straight into my honourable mentions now for 2014. I'm kicking it off with The Raid 2. Just didn't quite make the list for me. It's a fantastic action movie, great companion piece with the first one. Just absolutely love these two action movies. Think they're absolutely brilliant. So yeah, fully recommend the two Raid movies. Next honorable mention for me is The Drop, Tom Hardy and James Gandolfini. Just didn't quite make the list for me, but it was one of James Gandolfini's last films. Really good crime movie. I had so much fun with it. Next honorable mention for me is The Judge, Robert Downey Jr., Robert Duvall. Great movie. Again, just didn't quite make the list for me, but it's a fantastic drama. Same can be said for Selma. A fantastic drama. Again, just didn't quite make the list for me. Some great performances in it as well. A Most Violent Year. Great cast this with Oscar Isaac and Jessica Chastain. Really good crime movie, but again, just didn't make the list. 99 Homes with Andrew Garfield and Michael Shannon. Again, just another really good drama with some really tense scenes in it, some upsetting scenes in it. But again, I thought this was a great film and is quite underrated in my opinion. St. Vincent, great cast this movie. My favourite Melissa McCarthy movie, I think. Probably by far. I know I'm sort of warming up to Bridesmaids, but this one still for me is her best film in my opinion. Great to see her take on a more sort of serious but still quite comedic role. But yeah, it's an enjoyable film, and again, I do think this one's very underrated. So check it out if you've not seen it. My next honorable mention is Wild with Reese Witherspoon. Yeah, again, another fantastic drama that just didn't quite make the list for me, but it's still a really good film. Love and Mercy, great movie this, just didn't make the list for me. Great to see John Cusack and Paul Dano playing the sort of the older and younger versions of Brian Wilson while he was... and it sort of focuses on when he was trying to the younger part of him in the film sort of focuses on him trying to break away from that stereotypical music they were doing and how he came up with Pet Sounds. And the older version is sort of, you see him sort of under the control of Paul Giamatti, who's a very dangerous individual. But yeah, I thought this was a very fantastic film. I really enjoyed Love and Mercy, but again, didn't quite make the list for me. Love and Mercy is a great song as well, by the way. Next honorable mention for me is The Fault in Our Stars. Great sort of teen drama, this one. Done properly, handled very well. Really enjoyed this, but again, just didn't quite make the list for me. It's really worth checking out that film. Still Alice with Julianne Moore. Won the Oscar this film. Really good drama movie. Great performance from her, playing this woman who sort of is beginning to suffer early onset dementia. Really powerful performance, and I enjoyed the movie a lot. Really good. Next honorable mention for me is Foxcatcher. Not as strong of a movie, but it's got some really good performances in it. And my last honorable mention is Ex Machina. Great cast, this movie. I think it is a little bit overrated with what I've heard people say about it. But again, it's still very good. It's a very fresh sci-fi movie. A bit of a slow burner though for me. But yeah, I still enjoyed it. Still think it's not a bad movie at all. So that being said, I'm going to get straight into the main list of my favourite 25 movies from 14, and kicking it off at number 25 is Clint Eastwood's American Sniper. I enjoyed this movie a lot. I thought it was really, really good, sort of dealing with the aftermath of sort of PTSD. Some people have some complaints about it though, which I kind of agree with. The scene where he's holding the baby, it looks extremely fake. You can tell it's a prop. But yeah, other than that, I enjoyed this movie massively. Thought it was a great performance from Bradley Cooper too. So yeah, really good Eastwood directorial as well. So coming up next to me at number 24 is The Grand Budapest Hotel by Wes Anderson. I love this movie. I thought it was great. Great cast to it as well. Wes Anderson's fingerprints are all over this movie. Ralph Fiennes to me was the standout. So much fun. Just quick paced, fabulous editing. Really, really enjoyed this movie. Again, the cast was just the main focus for me. Absolutely enjoyed it. Coming in quite low on the list though, unfortunately. So coming up next to me at number 23 is Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. I enjoyed roughly about 80% of this movie. I thought it was just fantastic. A great sort of space epic with some great performances to it. Great to see Matthew McConaughey again breaking away from that shit he does with the rom-coms. Just a really, really good, strong performance from him. And a great bulk of the movie. But for me, the ending falls flat on its arse. It just lost me. That sort of 10-20 minutes of the movie, I just checked out. I really didn't know what was going on. I really don't think a lot of people did. But the bulk of the movie, those first two acts, superb. Just really, really enjoyed this one. It looks great on Blu-ray too. Just absolutely brilliant. I was going to say stellar, but no pun intended. Coming up next for me at number 22 is Taika Waititi's What We Do in the Shadows. What a fresh take on the vampire genre this was. Just absolutely entertaining from start to finish. Sort of is filmed in the style of a mockumentary, following a group of like flatmates who are all vampires. And it was so much fun. Really, really great actors in this too. Really enjoyed the performances, and you sort of find out more about their culture as the movie goes along as well, and it was just a blast. Really, really had a lot of fun with this. He's really, really impressing me, Taika Waititi, as a director, with Hunt for the Wilderpeople, Thor Ragnarok, and Jojo Rabbit. He's just killing it with those movies for me. So coming up next for me at number 21 is Paddington. Again, a really, really good kids movie with a lot of charm to it. It is just so much fun. The movie just feels like one of those movies you just want to like put a big blanket on and just sit and watch. It just really has that charm to it. I just enjoyed it. It was just so... It was a very friendly film. And the sequel too is just really good. It might even be better. It just does what the first one does better, but not to take away from this first movie, it's just so much fun and really, really original and really, really charming, and I just can't compliment it enough. I really had some fun with that film. Really, really enjoyable. So, coming up next for me at number 20 is The Imitation Game. This is a movie, I forget how good it is when I rewatch this film. It is really, really... really is something, this movie. You've got Benedict Cumberbatch playing this gay code breaker, and you know, at the time when all this was happening, you know, being gay was very frowned upon and illegal, and it touches on all that chemical castration stuff, which was just absolutely fucked. When you think about it, it's just it's horrible. But for me, the scene I enjoyed the most in this film was there's a scene where they crack the Enigma code, and it's basically we can warn the ships about this attack that's coming, but they can't do it because if they do it, the Germans will know and find out, and it leads to this big decision that has to be made. I won't go any further as I don't want to spoil the film, but it really, really had me tensed and gripped to this conversation that was going on. But yeah, it is a fantastic film, well acted as well. Really enjoyed The Imitation Game. So, coming up next for me at number 19 is a sequel to a comedy film that came out, I think, 2 years before. 22 Jump Street. Again, what great chemistry between Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. Super fun. Great comedic moments in this movie. Great sequel as well. And I love the ending to this where it sort of takes the franchise to this whole different level. Really fun. Can't say much more than that. Just absolute blast, this movie. Really enjoyed it. Really good solid sequel too. Coming up next for me at number 18 is It Follows. I thought this was a great concept to a horror movie. I just absolutely enjoyed it, about this sort of curse that gets put on you and something will always be following you forever. It doesn't rush, it just takes its time to follow you. It can take on the form of anyone, but only you can see it, and it will hunt you down and kill you. And the only thing you can ever do to stop it is outrun it. That's all you can do, and it was just so creepy. Really good jump scares in this movie too. Done very tastefully, and I had a blast with it, and I absolutely enjoyed the hell out of It Follows. So yeah, if you're into your horror films, this is a good one, so check this one out. So, coming up next for me at number 17. I'm cheating here a little bit because it's two movies. Two animated movies that just really impressed me, and I had an absolute blast with both of these. Big Hero 6 and the Lego Movie. Just touching on Big Hero 6 first. Great Disney movie. Had an absolute blast with it. So much fun. Great superhero movie too. Just really enjoyed Big Hero 6. And the Lego Movie, this could have been an absolute disaster, but it wasn't. It's got a great lenticular slip here. This is the 3D version of the Blu-ray. I absolutely love the slipcover on this thing. It's so good. It is a bit damaged on the side, unfortunately, but yeah, an absolute solid movie. Really surprised me. Made me laugh a lot too, particularly towards the end. But yeah, I thought it was just a great movie. It could have been just a giant advert for Lego, but it wasn't. It actually had substance to it. Yeah, both of these movies, just really good kids movies. Great animated movies too. I absolutely enjoyed both of these. Thought they were just great. Sort of both on the same level for me. That's why I sort of had them at the same spot. But yeah, cracking on next with number 16 for me. That's Brad Pitt in Fury. This was an awesome war movie. I absolutely enjoyed every second of this film. There's a sequence in this movie, though, to me, that is the standout. And it pretty much the sequence involving these tanks. And the action in it was just so entertaining and so impressive. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It didn't have the ending I expected it to. I won't spoil it, but I was really taken aback by it. I thought it was a brave way to go. But yeah, Fury, absolutely awesome war movie. Great performances in it too. So, coming up next for me at number 15 is Richard Linklater's Boyhood. Yeah, I've got a lot of positive things to say about this film. It has a very lengthy runtime of roughly about 3 hours, but its end, the way this movie was made, I've never seen anything like this before. Very ambitious movie with a lot that could have gone wrong. It basically takes place over many years, this film. It was filmed over a very long period of time in different types of segments, and they're all edited together to make this one movie. Now, when you do things like that, you obviously, of course, could have things go wrong, like the actors you're using can sadly pass away, but this film didn't have anything like that to deal with. The only thing I would criticise this film on is that it doesn't really have a plot. It doesn't really have a cohesive story for me. It's just snippets of this boy's life in different time periods, growing up, sort of spliced together. And that's fine. And it really, really does make for a great film. You're just sort of focusing on what's going on in the moment rather than there being a beginning, middle, and end sort of structure to the film. I thought this movie should have won Best Director because it was just so ambitious, and Richard Linklater pulled it off with flying colours, in my opinion. But yeah, because of its ambitiousness and its uniqueness, it was just, I was so impressed by it. So yeah, fully recommend Boyhood. Yeah, just one entertaining and enjoyable film. Right, my next pick at number 14 is the film that won Best Actor for Eddie Redmayne at the Oscars. And it's The Theory of Everything, playing, of course, Stephen Hawking. It's one of the best scientists that the UK's ever produced, in my opinion. Just absolutely great. And his performance just absolutely nailed it. It of course could have been handled absolutely awfully. It could have been a train wreck, but it wasn't. It was handled tastefully. And it was just a very, very compelling film, an interesting film to find out about Stephen Hawking's early life. I just really, really enjoyed it and had a blast with it. The performances in it as well, just absolutely strong. I think Eddie Redmayne absolutely killed it. Really, really impressed me. So, yeah, Theory of Everything. It's a great, great sort of biopic movie. Right, my next pick at number 13. It's probably the movie everyone sort of considers the weakest of the Hobbit trilogy. And it's the extended version of Battle of the Five Armies. This great lenticular cover. I absolutely enjoyed the extended version more than the theatrical. I think some of the action sequences go on a lot longer in this version. Some of those cave trolls look absolutely terrifying. They look like Cenobites from Hellraiser, some of them. Absolutely horrific, but this was a great conclusion to that Hobbit story, I felt. Again, the debate can go on whether The Hobbit, being such a small book, needed to be made into 3 films. But I'm glad we just got to see more of this universe, and I really, really love revisiting it and going back there. I just have so much fun with it. But yeah, The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies, great action movie, great conclusion, and I just really, really enjoyed it. The extended version, in my opinion, is so much better. The extended version of all the Hobbit movies and Lord of the Rings are my go-to versions anyway. I haven't seen the theatrical ones in years. I always watch the extended versions. So coming up next for me at number 12 is Jon Favreau's Chef. My word, I absolutely fell in love with this movie. Similar to Paddington, it just has a charm to it which you just can't ignore. It pretty much follows this chef who gets a bad review, played by the Oliver Platt, who I absolutely love in anything he's in. He's just a great actor. So he sort of quits his job and then just basically buys a truck and turns it into a food van and just travels around teaching his son about how to be a chef and sort of run a successful business. And that's basically the movie, and I had an absolute blast with it. Thought it was just so much fun. The movie absolutely makes me hungry as fuck, because the food in this just absolutely looks delicious and absolutely divine. But yeah, it's again, the movie's just chock full of fun. Great soundtrack to it too. But yeah, as I said, the food in this movie just looks absolutely delicious, and the performances in it as well are absolutely great. You got Dustin Hoffman, Sofia Vergara, Scarlett Johansson in there as well, and a small part for Robert Downey Jr. John Leguizamo too. Great cast to it. Just really, really enjoyed Chef. Thought it was just really charming and so much fun. So my next pick at number 11 is Edge of Tomorrow. Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, fantastic sci-fi movie this. Sort of very similar concept to Groundhog Day, with Tom Cruise dying in this alien war and having to come back to life and repeat the same day over and over again. Of course, I want to give a shout out to this film to an actor who's sadly no longer with us. And I always forget he's in this movie, and he's one of the best parts about it, Bill Paxton. Yeah, oh my word, just anything he's in turns to gold for me. Just one of those actors, just absolutely brilliant. But yeah, this was a great original sci-fi film that I absolutely enjoyed. Emily Blunt as well, she's churning out some great work lately. I'm not a fan of Mary Poppins Returns, but the Quiet Place stuff and this, Looper, just really, really enjoy her stuff. Just think it's so good. And Tom Cruise is a massive actor. I've got a lot of respect for that. He does his own, pretty much all his own stunts. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. He just really, really impresses me, Tom Cruise. Absolutely really like the guy. But yeah, really, really enjoyed Edge of Tomorrow. Great sci-fi movie and one of the best from this year. So yeah, fully recommend that one. It's coming up next for me as we crack into the top 10 now with number 10, and it's David Fincher's Gone Girl. I remember going to the cinema to see this, and I was just absolutely blown away by it. Just a fantastic, fantastic film. Rosamund Pike firing at all pistons in this film. So good. Ben Affleck as well, Neil Patrick Harris, Tyler Perry. Oh, just a great cast. About Ben Affleck, who's pretty much, his wife's gone missing, and it turns into a bit of a media circus, and it's sort of like he's getting accused of the reason why she's gone missing. And I won't say anything more than that because I don't want to spoil the film. It comes in this great set as well, with the DVD and the book as well. Really great presentation, and just a fantastic film with an ending that sort of really shocked me. But yeah, fully recommend Gone Girl. It's a very serious movie. Don't expect a lot of laughs in this film. But if you're in that mindset, you'll have a blast with it. It's really good. So my next pick at number 9 is a movie I think took a lot of people by surprise. Didn't really know what to expect with it. From the Marvel Universe, and it's Guardians of the Galaxy. I think a lot of people were surprised about this movie, had no idea what to expect going in. No one had probably even heard of Guardians of the Galaxy up until about 2014. But yeah, what a breath of fresh air and an absolute blast this film was. So entertaining from start to finish. Fantastic soundtrack, great performances, putting people on the map, like Zoe Saldana and Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista too. Really enjoyable film. Really fantastic. There's a lot of people who are in the camps of whether Volume 1's better or whether Volume 2's better. I enjoy both films equally. I think they're both fantastic. Really good companion pieces to each other. But yeah, I think part 1 had the easier job because no one really had any expectations to this film or knew what to expect. But it's a great entry into the Marvel Universe and so much fun. Love the characters in there. Yeah, just, it's a good time. Good time. Had watching that. So, coming up next for me at number 8. Pretty much all the things I said about Guardians of the Galaxy can be said for this next film. No one really knew what to expect with this film. Expectations were probably very low, but it was an absolute blast and a fantastic time at the movies. I remember seeing it at the cinema too. Just was blown away and really impressed by it. And it's Kingsman: The Secret Service. Just what a good time at the cinema and a great film. No one expected it to be that good. It just really was entertaining. It sort of like is a refreshed version of James Bond. It just had this absolute amazing cast and this amazing story, and again, it just came out of nowhere and was just a really, really good film. A lot of quality to it. That church scene with Lynyrd Skynyrd playing. Amazing. Amazing action sequence. Just absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I can't really praise the film enough. It was just so good and such a breath of fresh air. Great action spy movie. Just brilliant. I am in the camp that the first one is better though than the sequel. I don't think the sequel's as good, unfortunately, but I think a lot of people are on that same page. But the first one was just so brilliant. So coming up next at number 7 for me is a movie I saw glimpses of when I worked at a cinema, but I really wanted to sort of sit down and watch it from the beginning, and I'm really glad that I did. And again, this was another movie that went very much underseen, but sort of word of mouth picked up that this was a good film. And it's John Wick with Keanu Reeves. Yeah, just what a great action movie. Very upsetting start, I will admit. I won't spoil what happens, but it's a good motivator for John Wick in what he does and try and gets revenge. You really understand why he's doing what he's doing. He sort of plays this retired assassin who's been brought back in by this event that happens, and he really kicks some fucking ass in this movie. And it was just a great action movie. It reminded me, had elements of sort of Leon to it, but it was just absolutely fantastic. He sort of, as I said, he's this sort of retired hitman, but he's packs a punch, and he's just someone you don't want to fuck with. And my God, was it a good time. Really enjoyable film. So yeah, I'm heading into the sort of the quality of the year now, I think. Just absolutely fantastic stuff. So coming in at number 6 for me is probably the best X-Men movie we've had up to date. I thought this was absolutely fantastic, and it's never really been topped yet. Probably by maybe, I think it's up there with Logan for me. And it's X-Men Days of Future Past with this absolutely fantastic slipcover that I just really love. I think it looks fantastic. Great story to this as well, just absolutely fantastic. So in the future, there's these Sentinels that were developed to pretty much hunt down and kill mutants. So Wolverine sent back in time to prevent this event from happening, which kickstarts the Sentinel program by Trask, played by Peter Dinklage. Yeah, what an awesome concept. Just absolutely fantastic. Taken straight from the comics. I enjoyed the Days of Future Past 2-parter from the cartoon series just a bit more, where Bishop's sent back in time. I won't spoil what happens in that if you've not seen it, but it was a really good cartoon. But the movie, just absolutely brilliant. Loved every minute of it. Loved how this movie looked. I love the future. I love the Sentinels. I love the cast. I love the characters. I just thought it was just absolutely fantastic. And again, just so much fun at the cinema. Really enjoyed it. So, coming up next for me at number 5 is probably my favourite MCU solo movie. That's Captain America, the Winter Soldier. What an outstanding sequel this movie is. It doesn't get enough credit for that. The movie is just absolutely fantastic and takes the Captain America storyline into such an interesting realm. To talk about it is quite hard because I don't want to get into spoilers too much, but the genre that this movie took up, this sort of like spy espionage movie, oh God, the Captain America characters just threaded through that genre so well, and it was just so interesting to watch, just so fascinating. We get Scarlett Johansson back as Black Widow, Sam Jackson as Nick Fury. Just a fantastic sequel. This is the sequel that sort of Thor 2 should have been, and Iron Man 2 and 3 in my opinion. This was just a flawless sequel, and it is just so well made by the Russo brothers. They just were welcomed into the MCU, in my opinion, with just a big hug. They just churned out some of the best movies. But yeah, it looks fantastic on Blu-ray. Great to see Robert Redford in there too. I absolutely love The Winter Soldier. So much action in it as well. One particular scene with Nick Fury in his sort of his car, which turns into this absolute fucking machine with the little Gatling gun. Oh, I absolutely love that sequence. It was just so entertaining. And this movie just delivered. It delivered, and I think it exceeded expectations. Just absolutely love Winter Soldier. So, my next pick at number 4 is, again, this is another sequel, the middle part of a trilogy, and it's Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I really, really dug this movie. What sold it for me was the villain, Cobra. Just one dangerous individual who could sway an election, as it were. He just was dangerously influential and against Caesar in this film. Very sort of Shakespearean villain. Sort of reminded me a little bit of Macbeth, this film. A little bit, but yeah, the motivation behind Cobra and what he does is understandable, and that's why we get him. He is terrifying at times towards the end. The action sequences in this movie, just absolutely brilliant as well. The story is just solid. The ending is satisfying. I loved everything about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and that's why it's my number 4. Just a great, great, great movie. The opening sequence of this, stellar. Again, told through the visual medium with no sound. Just absolutely loved it. So, yeah, great, great sequence. Now, does anyone remember that at the 2014 World Cup, there was sort of like controversy about one particular scene in this movie that got shown, and there were just so many complaints about it. But yeah, I just remember that happening and just found it, it was a bit shocking and strange. But yeah, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, really, really enjoyed it. Thought it was just absolutely stellar. Now, I just want to get into a disclaimer before I get into my top 3. I have a list on IMDb where I rank every film I've ever seen. I'm coming very close to cracking 4,000. I'm about 4 or 5 films away. Now, the last time I gave a movie 10 out of 10 was the year 2014. And I gave a 10 out of 10 to 3 movies. Those are my top 3 movies that I'm going to discuss now. I've never given a 10 to a movie since 2014, and I just wanted to make a note that 2014 was the last time I gave 3 of them out. So yeah, just really wanted to just make that point. So I'm going to get into number 3 now. I think this is a flawless movie, and again, it's a movie that stars, well, it doesn't star, but Bill Paxton's in this movie. I think it was one of his last. Jake Gyllenhaal is on point in this film, and it's Nightcrawler. God, yeah, what can I say about this film? It just had me gripped. So brilliant. So you got Jake Gyllenhaal playing Lou Bloom, who pretty much is this, what they call Nightcrawlers, who go around capturing as much footage as they can to sell to newscasters. And then it becomes more about Lou Bloom causing the crime, as it were, to try and get the best footage he can. I won't really say much more than that, but my word, what he does and what he sinks to get the footage, like, that's his main priority. That's all he gives a toss about, is just getting the footage to sell to newscasters. And it's just relentless and ruthless, and I absolutely love this film and thought it was just absolutely fantastic. So Nightcrawler, it's a cracking watch. Kind of a disturbing film too, but yeah, really, really love that. So my number 2 pick is, again, another film I gave 10 out of 10 to from 2014, and it's Whiplash. Miles Teller, J.K. Simmons, fucking hell, one of the best performances I've ever seen. Fully deserved of the supporting actor Oscar that he got. My word. This movie is about, I think, from J.K. Simmons' point of view, it's about finding and breaking someone to reach their full potential, as it were, and getting them to reach there no matter what and by whatever means necessary. I mean, this guy is just ruthless. He'll put you down. He will wind you up just to unlock the best version of you that you can be, I think. Really, really struck me as the sort of jazz teacher, Miles Teller's as drummer, and he just pushes him to his absolute limits. And it had this absolutely astonishing and fantastic ending. I loved Whiplash so much, and I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, it got a 10 out of 10 from me on IMDb, and I really, really enjoyed the hell out of this film. I loved the setting, I loved the story, I loved the performances, I love the dialogue in this film. I mean, J.K. Simmons just delivers some of the most insulting yet brilliant dialogue I've ever heard. He's like, you know, I think my favourite is, two of my favourite lines are, you know, you give a retard a calculator, he'll try and turn on the TV with it. And I love it when, like, Miles Teller starts to cry and he's like, are you crying? And he's like, do I look like a fucking double rainbow to you? Oh, the dialogue in it is just so good. Yeah, Whiplash, check it out. It's a powerful film. I enjoyed the hell out of it and thought it was absolutely fantastic. So, my number one pick is, again, a movie I gave 10 out of 10 to. It won Best Director, Best Picture. I thought this movie was visually stunning, fantastically edited. And it's Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. For me, this was a comeback for one of my favourite actors, Michael Keaton. Yeah, it just surprised the hell out of me, this film. How it looked, the actors in it, the performances, the direction, the editing. It just all worked together and it all flowed. The scenes in this were just so surreal as well. I think my favourite being with Michael Keaton when he just gets locked out of the theatre and has to walk through Times Square in this fucking nappy. Hysterical. Just had me absolutely bawling and laughing. Edward Norton, Zach Galifianakis, Naomi Watts, Emma Stone as well. How could I forget she was in this? Great performance. So good. I absolutely loved everything about Birdman. I just really dug this movie. The only thing I was a bit disappointed by is, I don't know if there is one, but I would have really loved to see a steelbook version of this film. I was really hoping one would get released, but unfortunately we just got the standard. But we got a great slip to it. But yeah, I absolutely loved everything about this film. So yeah, that is my top 25 favourite movies from 2014. You can tell by this list, it just churned out some absolute fantastic quality. But yeah, as I said, these are just my personal favourite movies. So let me know your favourite films from 2014. Have you seen any of these films? Have you not? Let me know down below and get a conversation going. So I'll leave the video there and just say thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you're new, please think about hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell and all that jazz so you don't miss out on the videos I put out. And I really hope you've enjoyed it. And I'll just say thanks very much. Stay safe and take care. Thanks again.